Hi, friends. Host Eric here, host Talking to Famous People. You may be shocked to learn this, but once again, somebody's guilty of wrongness. And, well, this guy's name is Garrett Francois. He says MBTI functions do not equal socionics functions. They do not have the same definition. For example, organization for achieve a goal would be TE in MBTI, but SE in socionics. Please don't make a video on it if you are ignorant of this. So I replied, you misunderstand me. I'm not saying that MBTI and socionics define the functions the same way. I'm saying to the extent they differ, one is correct, the other is wrong. They refer to the same thing. So you assume that one of them is wrong and know that they are a different definition. Why do you associate LSI with ISTP that have totally opposed definition? If you ignore that Model A is incompatible with MBTI or still associate socionics type with MBTI type, if you know that, then I have no reason to spend my money on your book. So I told them, anything but ignorant of this here, you should buy my book.
I'll probably buy your book.
I said, in response to his last comment there, because ISTP and LSI refer to the same thing regardless of the definitions. You, like many people, are putting the cart before the horse. I'll make a video response, and I hereby am doing so.
Understood.
So what do I mean, putting the cart before the horse and all that? Well, look. It's true socionics defines the functions differently, and by and large, neither socionics nor MBTI is correct. Regardless of a person's type identity, that's, again, putting the cart before the horse. What functions do is allow us to successfully taxonomy human attention, the human experience, what it means to be conscious. And we can understand that there are differing manners of consciousness, of aware consciousness and less aware consciousness. So understanding that you're an ENTP simply means understanding that there's a value matrix that goes along with a certain stack. I think the best, most effective way to understand cognitive functions is to forget about socionics and MBTI. Neither of them are correct. The most correct understanding of it is that NI and SI are epistemology functions or knowing functions, that SE and NE are action functions, that TI and FI are judging functions, that TE and FE are interface functions, and the slots provide a value matrix that allows us to understand how an attentional configuration plays out. Your first slot is an implicit value, your ticket to admission. Something has to at least engage you on your dominant function, or else you'll find it impossibly dull or not interesting or a waste of time or something like that. Your second function is your instrumental value. You use it to accomplish other values. It's not valuable in and of itself, but it's instrumental to everything that is valuable to you. Your third function is your absolute value or your scorecard for yourself. It's where you get paid. It's like where you get your juice. And it's also your veto. So it's like if something ultimately doesn't play out on your third function level, you won't persist in it forever. You'll give up that and switch course. Because if it doesn't validate against your third function, then it's negative for you. Fourth function is the value you seek to delegate. So you seek assistance from others or provision of the fourth function or an environment that's conducive to you successfully manifesting the fourth function. That's the value form in the fourth. Fifth is your scorecard for others. It's a validation thing as well, where you go, is this person legitimate? Well, they have to at least seem to be on the same team as the fifth function, or else I'm going to deem them illegitimate. Sixth function is countervalued. Seventh function is confused, basically. Eighth function is insecure / accomplished. It's accomplished in an SI sense. It's insecure in an NI sense. So you don't compete well in your eighth function against people who have it as their first or second function if you're competing on that metric itself. But you have it properly balanced in your life. Socionics calls it the role function. That's one of the aspects of it that I don't disagree with about socionics, is that you use it to fulfill your role. It's not something you love to do, but it's not something you feel super confident about. It's something where you'll be particularly offended by examples of evil that manifest through your eighth function. So that's the value matrix. Now, he's saying if you don't know Socionics Model A to make a video about it, dude, listen, I've been thinking about this shit and working on it for a long ass time now. And I have heard every fucking incarnation of cognitive functions you can hear. Instead of simply going with one or more wrong approaches, I've managed to break it down into what it ought to be, and, how we can best understand it. But the most important thing to remember is the worst way to understand cognitive functions is through type descriptions, because it's putting the cart before the horse. That you are a configuration of manners of consciousness is inevitable because it's what it means to be human. And that those configurations have certain implicit value relations is the most descriptively accurate way to understand it. But the type thing, that's just a loose correlation. It's like I may be like an average ENTP or not. I may match type description or not, because the particulars of any given individual's life are going to define how exactly that configuration manifests in ways that define universal descriptions like that. So, what homie here needs to understand is you don't need to be married to Socionics, and you don't need to be married to MBTI. You can acknowledge that both of them are wrong. And if you want to understand how cognitive functions really work, watch my videos or buy my book or something. Okay? Don't come rolling in here all full of cheesy goodness and think you're going to impress anybody. You're not impressing anybody. You're just seeming like you don't know what you're talking about. Do a little research on the person whom you condemn as ignorant before making such condemnation. Probably wise. Anyway, that's it for this.